Hey, Jeff, as you know, in March, Harbaugh was awarded a contract extension. It keeps him in Baltimore. It doesn't necessarily 100% keep him in Baltimore through the 28th season. There's nothing keeping Steve Bisciotti at the end of this year. God forbid anything happens in season that goes awry from scratching that and moving in a different direction. But do you get any kind of sense that if things are to continue to persist this way with the graphic that you just saw up on the screen, which has become a disturbing trend in recent years? And then we'll go back to the statistic that we referenced earlier on in the show: 17 blown double-digit leads, the most by any coach since 1991. We know there's been a multitude of reasons, and it requires context when you say blanket statements like that, but we've all watched this transpire over the last few years. Do you have any kind of sense from an organizational standpoint that if this were to continue, given what Cole just mentioned, Harbaugh and Lamar, this duo is now 8 years running, or will be 8 years running, 7.5, I guess, technically, once this upcoming season is over? Do you have any kind of sense of whether or not Steve would feel that kind of pressure, knowing that you have a quarterback that is not even 30 yet, with the resume that he now commands and the respect that comes with it from an overall body of work standpoint? Would he go in a different direction and kind of accept that change can be a necessary evil when you have this kind of high stakes in a player like Lamar?
Well, the contract suggests no, but we also need to remember he fired Brian Billick 1 year into a contract extension. And, it's not the same situation. I don't think Billick's brash style was ever a hit with Bisciotti. I don't think they saw eye to eye on some things. But it was still 1 year into a contract extension. So you could say he's done it before, he could do it again. The reality is none of us know if John Harbaugh is on the hot seat, because the only person that could put him on — I know the fans would love if I had the power to get John Harbaugh fired, but the only person who can put him on the hot seat is Steve Bisciotti. We haven't spoken to Steve Bisciotti in several years. He doesn't really talk to the media. The Ravens are very closed off when it comes to talking about jobs and performance of executives and all that. You just really don't know who's on solid ground or who's in trouble, because they just don't broadcast it. That's the way good organizations do it. I'll say, just my opinion, if this crashes and burns, or if there's another bad playoff exit, I don't know how you don't make change. Sure. I just thought, you have to try something new. Lamar's not getting any younger. You've given him quite a few shots, but I also think we're way too premature, guys. They lost to one of the best teams in football. I get they blew a lead, but I haven't seen, I didn't learn much negative about the Ravens that I didn't really already know. I mean, the big picture view coming into the season was I thought they were going to be really good. Let's see how good they are in January. Let's see if they could finally get the job done in January. I left Highmark Stadium at about 3:00 in the morning on Sunday thinking the same exact thing. I saw a team that could be really good this year, and I saw a team I still don't trust in January, and they're going to have to prove us right or wrong or any of that. So I don't know if I learned a whole heck of a lot Sunday beyond, man, they're going to put up a lot of points this year. Maybe their defense isn't as far along as we thought. Closing games is still a problem. I think all those things, but I don't know that any of those things were very revelatory for me as I watched this game. The expression, what do they say? The expression is people show you who they are, and at some point you have to believe them.
More to come on all of this, guys, including your super chats, which we will read, display, and react to right after this from our episode sponsor, and that is the folks at Sleeper.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
All right, you guys know the drill. You heard it there, and you know how it goes with these channels, too, in the creator space. When you support our brand sponsors, you are supporting this channel's growth. If you use promo code HMA, and you'll get up to $100 match. That's a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. You can see Sleeper's terms of use for details. They're currently operational in over 25 states. You can check out Sleeper today. And again, use our code HMA.
I think we've pretty much seen who the Ravens are for a while now. And at some point, you have to believe what you see. And we've seen this movie before. It's now up to the Ravens to rewrite the narrative and to show they are a different team. I don't think that show is going to come in September either way. They're going to have to make that statement in January or in December if they're playing a big game where they need to win to lock up the 1 seed or whatever. But I just, if things go bad, sure, I think there'll be massive changes in this organization. There's another playoff meltdown, okay, but they're 0-1. They lost to one of the best teams in football. At times, they look like the best team in football on that field. I don't think anybody in this organization is panicking and starting to think about making changes. That's not how they operate. And quite frankly, it's ridiculous after 1 week to think that they're going to make any massive changes.
I think the big thing is you kind of nailed it. I don't trust them until they show me, that they can be trusted. And if you go back to last year, that game against Pittsburgh at home, I'm not going to lie, I started to trust them. Like that was to me one of the worst playoff matchups. The Pittsburgh Steelers had the Baltimore Ravens number. They had Lamar Jackson's number. And to Baltimore's credit, they came out and ran the ball down their throat, quite literally dominated them physically. And that's where I started to think okay, maybe this is different. Like they looked like a different football team. And then they go into Buffalo and it's the same shenanigans. Like I don't even know what other word to use with these guys. And so, this just felt like another playoff game where, the shenanigans crept up. And it is one of those things. If I took a step back and looked at this in a vacuum, everything went Buffalo's way in this game. The Plinko touchdown, the Kincaid catch with, a second left. Tyler Loop misses an extra point. Like a lot of things had to go right.
3 dropped interceptions.
3, yeah. And so everything kind of went their way. So if I look at it in a vacuum, I wouldn't be that worried about it. It's like, okay, let's go kick the shit out of Cleveland and get this, train back on track. But it's the pattern, right? And it's the pattern that causes the PTSD. And, I won't rehash it. We all know that. But, I think that's, you nail it. It's like fool me once, shame on me, or you fool me once, or fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 17 times, shame on us all.
But they've earned that scrutiny, Bobby. That's the thing. They've earned that. They can complain about it all they want, but they've earned that for people not to trust them down the stretch. That's just how it is on what we've seen from them so far, and they didn't help them for sure.
Well, hey, I think, Cole, what you were getting at, maybe we just dive into further real quickly here because maybe it ends up being therapeutic, right? The amount of things, whether they were flukes or just straight up